Hey, what's up YouTube viewers? Brian Fagioli here, and I am back with another Raspberry Pi unboxing and case install. A little bit late on this one, but I have the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B. Did get it. I ordered it the day that it was put available for order, but unfortunately I just didn't get around to unboxing it. But the really cool thing about the Pi 3 is that it has built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So it's, I believe, 802.11n, so it's not AC, but, you know, at these prices, $35, you know, just having built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is amazing. And the really great thing about having built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is that it now frees up some USB ports, making it even more attractive. So, really great computer. Let's go ahead and unbox it. But let's first look at the box itself. So on the side, it just says Raspberry Pi 3, nothing fancy there. On the back here, we see Raspberry Pi 3, Model B, 1 GB of RAM. Yes, 802.11 BGNN. Bluetooth 4.1 though, very cool. Raspberry Pi 3 on the side and nothing on the bottom. So let's go ahead and take it out. Now this should be nothing new, folks. I believe it looks exactly like the Raspberry Pi 2. Okay, inside the box, the rest is empty, so we'll put that to the side. And let's see what we have in the box here. Quick start guide, how to plug in an SD card, how to use a USB keyboard and mouse. I think we can figure that out without instructions, right guys? Okay, safety instructions. There's a lot of safety instructions here. I would say probably, you know, don't put it in your microwave, you know, don't go swimming with it, don't try to swallow it. That's some pretty good safety advice there, but yeah, there's a bunch of safety instructions here if you think you need it. Okay, inside this static bag is the Raspberry Pi 3 itself. I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And let's see, I'm just going to use the instruction manual to put it down just in case my kitchen table is a little bit dirty. Alright, so let's take a look what we have here. So, we have the GPIO connector. We have, let's see on the side here, micro USB for power. We have full-size HDMI for video. That's a good thing. That's great. 3.5mm for audio. Gigabit LAN. I believe it's gigabit LAN on here. Pretty sure. 4 USB 2.0 ports. 2.0 guys. Which is really good because now, before, if you wanted to have Bluetooth and let's say Wi-Fi, people would get dongles. So, you know, you'd have 4 USB ports, but the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth would take up 2. Now you're down to 2. Plug in a USB mouse and keyboard, now you're down to 0. So you had to buy a hub and this and that. So what I could see now is, you know, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is built in, so you plug in a keyboard and a mouse. Now you have space for a flash drive or a USB hard drive. Very, very cool. Let's see. Storage here. For storage, we have micro SD, which is cool. Micro SD cards are getting very large. I just bought on Amazon a 200 gig micro SD card for $59.99. I was able to get that before it sold out. So I mean, the cards are getting larger as far as capacity, and they're getting less expensive. So I think micro SD is a great way to add it to storage and to expand. So that's the Raspberry Pi 3. There's not much to it. It's pretty much looks-wise the same as the Raspberry Pi 2. But the big selling point, besides being more powerful, of course, is going to be you know, the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth being built in. Now, I always buy a case for my Pi 3, and this time I decided to go with a transparent case, and this was only like, I think, $6 or $7. The Tontech Raspberry Pi B+, all transparent. Let's go ahead and open it up. Okay. So we have the transparent case, and on the inside there are 4 screws. So there's not much to this case. The downside to transparent plastic is it can be very fragile. So it's going to look very cool, Unfortunately, you know, these screws are going to just basically screw directly into plastic, so there's no threading. So you're not going to want to be removing this case back, you know, over and over again, because these will probably bust because it's just screws being screwed into plastic and making threads. But without further ado, let's put the Raspberry Pi 3 in the case itself. Okay. So let's see how this goes in. Should be pretty simple. At least it should be. Hopefully it lines up properly. Okay. Is this... Am I doing it the wrong way? No, that'd be the bottom. Okay. I just want to make sure that the ports line up with the holes properly. There we go. Okay, now it's nicely sat in there. So, alright, so everything lines up. Excellent. So, we can see here this goes on like so. Isn't this easy, folks? Ooh, it looks really, really nice. Okay, so screws go into the bottom. So I'm just going to put that down like so. And we're going to open up the Ziploc bag. Okay. And we're just going to put these screws in. You can see they're pointy screws. I don't know if you can see that there. Because they're going to go directly into plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this in ever so slightly here. We don't want to over tighten because we don't want to break anything. So that's one screw in. As soon as I feel a little bit of resistance, I'm going to stop. You know, I don't want... oh, rookie mistake here. This fell off the back. So we're going to have to take off that screw. And it just goes to show, I told you, you don't want to always be taking the screws on and off. And there you go. I already had to do that once. So luckily I noticed that after the first screw. Okay. If you see here, there's a little bit of a slot for the micro SD. I can get that in. Other way, maybe? There we go. I believe that's how it'll go in. Okay, that's on there. That on ever so slightly. Nice. Okay, now I will resume screwing in these little screws into this cheap little case. And again, once I feel a little bit of resistance, I'm not going to over tighten. If you feel a little resistance, maybe give it like a half turn. And that's it. You don't want to over tighten and crack it. It'll look terrible. Okay. So I'm just going to give it a little half turn. Keep going with these screws. And the Raspberry Pi 3, I'm really excited about. The Raspberry Pi Zero I bought, I thought it was kind of a waste because it didn't have a lot of things. So you had to add so much to it. And once you have to start adding parts, it looks like a Frankenstein mix of wires and everything. And yes, I understand there's some people who do projects where they don't need everything and a little Pi Zero board would be helpful. But Raspberry Pi, they really, they advertised it, they put it in in magazines, and they said, okay, here's the Raspberry Pi Zero, a $5 computer. And it was sold as a $5 computer, and, yes, it costs $5, yes, it is a computer, but I think it's a little disingenuous to say it's a $5 computer because it really doesn't function without buying a ton more. But anyway, I digress. So here's the Raspberry Pi 3 in its transparent case, and I think it looks wonderful. So everything is exposed properly here. We have Ethernet, USB 2.0, 4 ports, nothing here. The GPIO connector here is hidden. I'm not going to use that anyway. I'm not a developer. I'm not going to be doing any kind of programming. I usually just use this for playing around for fun, the Raspberry Pi computers. Maybe I'll use it as a media device. Who knows what I'll use it for. But everything, yes, everything lines up. Really nice case. I will put a link to the case in the description of the video in case you want to buy it. But there you go, folks. So the Raspberry Pi 3 unboxing and a case install. And once again, transparent cases look really nice, but typically the plastic is a little bit fragile. Don't want to over tighten the screws. But you really can't beat it for the price. It feels really solid. You have holes in the back here for cooling. What a really nice case. My only concern is that it might be a little bit difficult to try to get the micro SD card in there. You know, there's some space below it. I could see the card falling in and getting stuck in there. But just be very careful, folks, when you're doing that. But have fun. That's the most important thing with the Raspberry Pi. Have a lot of fun. So, Brian Fagioli, once again, unboxing the Raspberry Pi 3, installing a case. Thank you so much for watching.